All right. So tell me this then, Mr. Clark, Mr. Angular Translate expert. What do I do if I can't figure out what language it is? I am Angular Translate, and for some reason I'm reading your locale, or I'm using the browser to read it, or you just can't find the language if you can't find English. How do I tell it, look, you got to show me something?
Yeah. So the way we would do that is through the fallback language option that's on the Translate
And you've got an
provider.
answer for everything.
Hey, I'm just trying to help out, man.
Fall back.
Fallback back.
So how many times do you have to fall back if you fall back?
Fallback language.
Okay.
How about that too?
Is the fallback language?
No, it's just fallback language.
All right.
So in there, just like we're doing preferred language, we would say EN in this case.
Okay. So wait, that looks confusing. I've got a preferred language and I've got a fallback language.
Right.
What if I don't prefer to fall back?
Then you might have to fall back to preferred.
All right, you're going to have to explain the difference to these.
So preferred language is telling the provider, that's the language I want to use. The
Okay.
language translation table to go get, or if you didn't, or if you already loaded it, just start translating, right?
Mm-hmm.
Fallback language is saying, if for whatever reason they couldn't go get some language. So let's say, in this case, it wasn't able to go get the Spanish one. It would fall back then to the English one that it has.
So the only way this will get me in trouble, I'm assuming, is if English wasn't found.
Yes, then you're in,
Because it's my preferred and my fallback.
right.
Okay, so you've got to at least make sure you've got one of them, but the fallback is there, if I hear you right, because when somebody uses that toggle, like we have in our app, and goes to French, Spanish, German, whatever, it's going to say, if I can't find that, I'll go back to English.
Right. So yeah, going back to what we were talking about before, if you're relying on another service to maybe provide that information, that other language to go get, and it maybe fails to go get that, some kind of network issue, at least you'll have English to fall back to.
So if I, just to kind of prove this out, tell me if this is the right way to think about it. If we went to that drop-down list and we added another language called, made-up language, and we added that, there is no made-up language thing. It's not going to find it. Should it use English?
Yes.
Can we try that?
Sure.
All right, show me.
So we'll go back to layout, top nav.
Okay, and we had two LIs already.
So we can take this, create another one, and
Put it in language XX or something. Something we know it's not going to find. And make it languages dot, what have you got?
well,
Just
there won't be a
hard-coded word.
translation for that, right? So we need to just make up something, right?
Yeah.
So language X,
All right, and get rid of the translate because nobody cares.
right? Okay.
All right, so we're telling it to go find a language called XX. Cool.
So then we come back here.
So run it, then go to Spanish because I want to prove that it went back to English.
Reload.
Okay.
So we'll
Show
go
me
back
Espanol.
Spanish.
All right, now show me XX. It should go back to English, right? It looked for XX, but it didn't find it because we got an error.
Right.
Okay, so in this case, the error is happening because it looked for the file and it couldn't find it. It's not that it couldn't find the language, it actually couldn't even find the file.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's a good question. How do we handle errors with these things? Are there any kind of events or anything we can hook into?
Yeah. There's a couple events we can actually look at. And we'll look at the documentation that they have here. Translation, translate, change start, change success, change error, and change end.
Oh, there's a whole bunch of them.
And for asynchronous loading, like what we're doing, you can use the translate loading start, loading success, just so that you can hook into those to make sure and see what's going on.
Right. Ours are instant, so we're seeing them right away, but those go hook into those events.
Yeah.
So there's a couple kind of errors. There's these errors you can look at, like a translation change error, for example, or a load error. The kind we were just looking at was we were thinking about the fallback and couldn't find the language. I guess looking for the file wouldn't cover that.
Right.
If it found the file but it couldn't find the language in the file,
Yeah.
that's where the fallback would come in, right?
Correct. Yes.
Okay, I got you. So let's hook into event. I want to see something happen because that should cover one of these, right?
Yeah. So the way we do that is these events are tied to root scope. And so we'll listen to those because the Angular Translate module is emitting these types of events.
Right, so in Angular we use root scope to listen.
Correct.
We could do the actual scope if we knew what scope it was, but we're going to use root scope here because we want it to listen everywhere.
Yep. So what we'll do now is we'll reference core again and run now.
And what's core? Just let's scroll up where people are.
Core is just app module app.core.
Okay, so it's our module.
Yep. On line 4 there, as you can see. So core run, and then we'll say function. We got to pass in the root scope.
Yep. Do we need translate too?
Yes. No, actually, we don't need translate.
Okay. Because we're not actually going to do any translations in there. We're just going to listen for the event.
Right. We just need root scope to listen to.
Okay.
And then we'll open that up, and then we'll bring out root scope.
So this is just a standard listen to the event, like root scope on?
Yeah. Root scope on. And then we'll say the event we want to listen to is the translate change success. And then when that happens, we'll run this anonymous function.
Let's just console log it just so we can see what's going on.
Sure. Whoop.
Could use Toaster, but we'll console log.
Translation change success.
Okay. And is there like an error one too? I thought I saw on that webpage.
Yes. So let's just copy this. Whoops. Not that. All this. And translate change error.
Okay.
Is the other one. Just change this so that we can see.
Yeah, we're missing semicolons in 65 and 58.
Yep, good catch.
Not that really matters. Okay.
So now we come back to the app.
Now the key there is to see, is that actually going to catch that particular one? So refresh.
So when we change to Spanish, we'll see translation change success.
Sweet.
We change to language X, translation change error.
Nice. So we have a way to catch these things and do something about it.
Yeah.
Awesome. So there's a bunch of other events. Want to flip over to the documentation? What other kind of things can we do? Loading end and loading start. So I assume that's like if it's going to a URL or something and it's going to get the data and it takes more than, right now it's like 1 millisecond. But if it takes longer than that, you could actually have some kind of event happen so it knows, like maybe a loader.
Right.
Or a spinner.
Yeah. And then when it comes back, you can hide the spinner then on translate loading end.
Okay. What does this one down here mean? Translate partial loader structure change. When the structure changes for parts. Oh, that's the part stuff where you said you could get different, like a dashboard part or an admin part.
Right.
Okay.
So that way, when you're going into modules or those parts that haven't been loaded or they're not frequently gone to when you first load up the app. Okay. When the user navigates to that and you have the code to actually add that new part, this event will get triggered when that part gets added.
All right.